So, hypothetically, if I say, okay, let's talk about sex, right?
Let's do it. Welcome to the I Had an Idea podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Here is how it works. You listen, we talk. I know you're busy and you don't owe us your time. We're going to keep things really short, no fluff.
Oh,
we're in the red zone.
Time's up. Next subject.
Joining me, your host, Trent Thompson, are people who not only have ideas, but do them, because the value of an idea lies in the using of it. We start with a segment called Brag, aka Give Yourself Flowers, aka Talk Your Shit, aka Who Even Are You? The guest has a chance to write down their own intro and convince you why the rest of this is worth listening to. If you want to support, I partnered up with Sudhi to make the I Had an Idea notebook, so when you have an idea of your own, you don't forget to write it down. Welcome to the podcast.
A drum roll, please. Whoa! Now that's what I call it.
an idea.
Joining me today is my wonderful cousin, Rebekah Lerobardier. Rebekah is a sex and relationship coach, an insightful sexuality educator, and a dedicated septee. Rebekah brings a unique blend of personal experience and professional expertise to the realm of intimacy and human connection. As an advocate for holistic well-being and authentic relationships, Rebekah's journey has been defined by her relentless passion for understanding and enhancing the human experience. Guided by her innate nature as an INFJ, she possesses a rare ability to empathize deeply with others and create a space for vulnerability and growth. Here we go. Beyond her profession, this is a little longer because she cheated on her 5 minutes and she did it on her phone. But we're gonna push through here. Beyond her professional pursuits, Rebekah is a woman of diverse roles and aspirations. Her roles as a wife and a mother add depth to her understanding of the dynamics of family and partnership, further enriching her ability to guide others in their own journeys. As a business owner, she exemplifies the fusion of passion and entrepreneurship, nurturing a platform that fosters meaningful change in the lives of her clients. In every aspect of life, Rebekah remains fiercely passionate about the human experience, constantly seeking to explore and understand the depth of connection, vulnerability, and personal growth. Her warm demeanor, combined with her extensive knowledge and remarkable ability to create an openly curious space, make her an inspiring and indispensable presence in the realms of sexuality, relationships, and holistic well-being. Welcome to the podcast, Rebekah. It's super, or Becca, as I know her. It's super. I'm excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Just to give you a little bit of context for how this goes normally, I'll give you your phone back too.
Great.
We like to keep everything pretty short, so we're going to do 3 5-ish minute segments. When we hit that 5-minute timer, this light's going to go red. We know we're in the red zone, and you're going to hear a horrible noise that makes you know that it is time to move forward. We're going to start, and I'm going to just preface for saying this is going to be an experience for me. I'm expecting to get out of my comfort zone just as much as she's getting out of hers. We're crossing all sorts of lines here, and I'm really looking forward to it. So the first question, Becca, is tell us about an idea that you had. Where did that idea come from, and how did you do it?
So my idea was, how do I turn a hobby into a career or get paid for what I love to do? Because I like to be home with my children, and I would have friends come, and they'd ask me all sorts of sex questions, relationship questions. I was like, well,
this is
how
fun.
can I get paid to do this?
Yes.
And so my idea was to do that. And at that time, I was a kitchen manager. And I was like, I think I could do this, sex coach. And so I went and asked a friend who's a business consultant. I said, hey, what do you think? He's like, do you have anything of value to share? I said, yes, I do. He's like, then you can go. Next day I gave my notice.
Yeah.
And went to school, and there it went.
Okay.
And so that was my idea. And I am officially, since 2018 is when my business license, my certifications, everything started come into play.
Okay.
I jokingly say I started unofficially 19 years ago and officially since 2018.
Gotcha. And so you corrected me pre-podcast, and I said sex therapist. Mm-hmm. You said sex coach.
Yes.
What is the difference?
So a sex coach, I work towards the future. Okay. What are your goals? What do you want to get to? Instead of working on the past and all the issues. I do deal, so the SEP/T, I'm a somatic experiencing trainer, practitioner in training, which is where we store trauma in our body, and I help people process that. It is different than just talk therapy.
Got it.
So the goal is, where do you want to go and how do we get there?
Gotcha. I love the sort of, I had this hobby, I enjoyed doing this, and I've tried to figure out how to, make a living out of it. When you went to schooling, how much schooling did you have to do? How big of a lift was that for
I
you
am
at the time?
still currently in school.
Okay.
I will probably be a forever student.
Gotcha.
So I got my sex and relationship coaching certification, did that, then went and got my bachelor's in psychology. I did a pleasure school from a lady in Australia.
What's a pleasure school?
It just teaches all about human anatomy, human sexuality,
What feels
human
good
pleasure.
and where? Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
All the ins and outs of it.
Okay. Give me, I'm going to be a little less strict on this. So at some point we're going to hit the red, and I'm definitely going to extend it because I don't want to have to cut you off in the middle. We're going to learn so much today. Give me one funky thing you learned in that class? Like what's a funny thing that feels good that not everybody knows about?
Okay, so it's probably not, it wouldn't be the first one that I would have been like, oh, this one. But I learned what a Yoni steam is.
A Yoni steam.
A Yoni steam.
Teach me.
And so it's where women,
Yeah.
or people that have vulvas, vaginas, will sit over a steaming bowl of hot water and tent it like you would your face.
Okay.
And it helps just cleanse your yoni.
Your yoni.
Which means the bringer of life. Sorry, I keep
Yeah, you're
knocking
good.
this because
She's a hand talker. It's okay.
I am a hand talker.
It's okay. For those listening on audio, that's what's happening. We're getting excited.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yoni steam.
A lot of it is about self-care and taking ownership of who you are, your body, your sexuality. Because if you're unable to do that, it's going to be very hard and difficult for anyone else to bring you pleasure if you don't even know what pleasure feels like for you.
So, for the ladies listening, or the Yoni having people listening, how hard is it to do a Yoni steam on your own?
Oh, it's
You just
super
boil
easy.
water.
Yeah, but if you want to go throw a few herbs in, like rosemary
Okay.
or rose petals, all that, like you can find Yoni steam herbs
Okay.
online.
Amazing. And so what is a day in a life for you now as a sex relationship coach?
So, Tuesday through Thursday, I see clients. And then every other Monday or Friday, I take off. So I have my alone time or my me time, whatever that looks like. And I love having people come in. And I have people from all walks of life. Singles, couples, divorced, married a month, married
Right.
20 years. It doesn't matter. It's people that have oftentimes tried all the other things and no one wanted to talk about sex. Didn't want to talk about the uncomfortable, the awkward.
Yeah.
And I love the awkward and the uncomfortable. It's not intimidating for me.
So I'm gonna I don't know if Cam's been keeping the time. Oh, there we go. That was perfect timing. We're in the red and we are moving on. I know obviously just from being extended family members that you grew up in a Christian conservative, I guess, environment, maybe not a family that was talking a whole bunch about their sexuality growing up. And I, from previous conversations, I know that is in a lot of ways what sparked your curiosity when you jumped into this. So talk about some of, I guess, what you would consider failures or like some things that fell on your face or maybe some learning lessons that came from that upbringing and then transition to what you're doing now.
Okay, so that is what launched me into what I do now because, yes, growing up in the purity culture, very conservative, I wanted to do everything right.
Yeah.
And then a little overboard. And so then, and if I was going to get married, I wanted the first person that I was with to be my husband.
Okay.
And I was tentative about it. I was like, oh, I could be a missionary, stay on my own forever, except
Right.
I wasn't going to be able to have sex.
Right. Oh, come
So,
on. That would be
so
terrible.
that
That'd
was
be horrible.
And then I met Sam, He wooed me really well.
Coffee guy, for those of you who have been listening.
Yes, coffee guy's my guy. And so we had a game plan. We did everything right. And then our honeymoon was supposed to be like fireworks, perfect. And it wasn't.
Okay. Because you just didn't know what was going on.
I didn't have information. I didn't have education. Because growing up, it's a girl's job to be responsible for men's thoughts and actions because men can't control themselves.
Right.
And so now I'm naked and alone in this room with a man that I really want to be, but everything inside my body said it's not safe.
Okay.
Right? And so there's that conflict.
Yeah, that seems like an impactful experience that would make you want to figure that out, I guess. How is I like that falling forward, because clearly you dove into that. It was like, we're gonna figure this thing out.
Yeah.
How has that gone? And maybe you don't feel comfortable sharing. Does your family now talk more about intimacy now that you're doing this? Have you is that conversation more prevalent?
It is more so than when we were younger,
Right.
but it is still not like a dinner conversation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so have you, in your coaching with your clients, I imagine you're dealing with people who are coming from all walks of life, faith-wise. You're coming from people who did not grow up in the same culture.
Yes.
And probably some people who are in it currently. How do you navigate that? Like, how do you separate your personal experience from what you're learning in school to coach people?
So for me, there is no one right way to do things. I live in the gray.
Okay.
And so there's not black and white, right or wrong, good or bad. It's what actually brings connection for you. And if you have a partner, you and your partner. And if you believe in a higher being, that higher being.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like, what works for some people would not work for me.
Okay.
What works for me would not work for others. And so it's very fluid. And so it's easy to help people in that instead of this is the way.
Yeah.
Because
So sort of take it from I feel like in a previous conversation I've had with you, is kind of, you have to start from what are they looking for.
yes.
And then figure out how to help them get there, whether or not you agree or or have any opinion whatsoever on where they're going. It's sort of, what do you want?
Yeah.
What's blocking you from getting there, whether that's physical,
Emotional,
somatic,
mental,
all that.
all of it.
And then helping them do that. That's super exciting. It's super interesting. I have so many questions. I'm going to go ahead and follow the format of the podcast, though, and we're going to go into, tell me a little bit about this idea, and we can stay in this sex coaching realm.
Okay.
You know, I think with a lot of the podcasts, people are having sporadic ideas that aren't all in one genre, but let's stay here. What's an idea that you're excited about now? Like, where are you growing? What are you studying now? What are you learning about? What are you excited to keep expanding on?
Okay. So I am currently in school for my somatic experiencing practitioner training, and I absolutely love it. That wasn't me.
Should we keep going? Let's keep going. It's fun.
Yeah. Whatever.
And I love it. And when I started that training, I felt at home.
Okay.
Like, I walked in, I was like, oh, this is my thing. Because we've been socially and culturally conditioned to live in our heads and not in our bodies. And I think I'm wired to live in my body and to think. Like, I'm a gut. I can make a decision and just go, but then I have to logic it out for the world.
Right.
Right? And with the somatic, it's all about listening to your body and not betraying your body and trusting your body. And so it has been so fun for me to go through that process and then help my clients. And so I am on my second of 3 years, and you go in modules and you graduate kind of from each module. And then you go and practice. You go and work with your clients instead of waiting 3 years and then say, bam, take it all and go.
Is most of the applications of your, like, the somatic things that you would implement with your clients, like exercises, like what, it's like a meditative thing? How does that work?
So
I need like a case study. Give me a case study of Bob.
Okay. So hypothetically, if
Yeah.
I say, okay, let's talk about sex,
Okay.
right?
Let's do it.
Do you have any thoughts, feelings, visceral responses?
Yes, and none that I'm care to share on this
great.
platform.
But that is what the somatic is. It
Okay.
is being in tune with your body's
What if I'm
natural
okay
responses.
with my natural response? Like I feel like I have natural responses that I'm like ugh, but like I don't want to change that. If that
But
makes
you're
sense.
not supposed to
Okay.
have to change them. The goal is not to change them, it's to be aware and embrace them and take ownership of
Got
this
it.
is who I am.
This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of, oh, I've got this.
So what's an example of one that someone might want to change?
Okay, so let's boundaries.
Okay.
Boundaries is a great one to start with somatic.
Okay.
So growing up in the church, especially as a woman, you are told to be respectful, don't make anyone feel bad.
Right.
And so there's this creepy guy in church and he wants to give you a hug. You have to hug him because otherwise it's disrespectful.
Yeah, you don't want to
or
be rude to creepy guy.
right? And so my body said, he's not safe. But everyone around you, authority, pastors, everyone, don't be disrespectful. And he's a man,
Right.
right? And so we as women were trained to disrespect and betray our bodies. And so we've no longer been able to, sorry, I moved away.
No, you're great.
So that is a great way to reintegrate. Oh, I can listen to my body. My body is telling me the truth. I just now need to trust.
So the exercise, the implementation of that exercise would look like what? So I'm a woman who comes to you and tells you this
And so
story.
that story.
And it's like I can't get over it. I need to start listening to my body. So what is a
So the process, I would ask her, okay,
Okay.
what are you feeling right now? Like, as you're telling me this story, do you feel that same feeling, right? And so I'd walk her through, what did you need in that moment, right? What did you need someone to stand up for you? Did you need to find your voice? Did you want to punch the person? Like,
right?
allow yourself to feel the feels and not push them away.
What would it have felt like to say, no, I don't feel
Yes.
comfortable hugging that man right now? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
And then not having a negative ramification.
I love that. Okay. That feels like very, I mean, I have a hard time empathizing with it. That's not the wrong word. I just can't put myself in those shoes because I walk around differently.
Yes.
But that feels like a very empowering thing to be teaching people. And I think that's amazing what you're doing. And I get why you would be excited about that. And we're going to stay on track again. And I'm going to give you a surprise segment here that you did not prepare for. And I haven't thought about what it's going to be. And so I'm going to improvise it a little bit. And you're going to tell me an idea. We're going to call this segment Jealous Inspired. And it's sponsored by nobody because it's the first time I've shot this podcast. And I want you to tell me about an idea outside of the realm of sex coaching that you've seen someone have that you're like, that's amazing. I wish I had that idea. Just an awesome idea something you've seen lately that you think is really cool.
Can it still be in the realm of sex and
Sure,
sexuality?
sure.
I want to travel the world and study different cultures,
Yeah.
sexuality, because it is so fascinating. And kind of circling back to purity culture,
Right.
like that is a very westernized idea
Yeah.
because modesty is cultural.
Right.
And so being able to embrace all of the different cultures, all of the beauty that people have. The world is stunning.
And find the innate truth about
Yes.
sexuality and not the figure out what
It's not rigid.
right,
It's
which parts are us as humans and which parts are us as cultural beings.
I want to control it. I want to.
That's so interesting.
We don't understand it, so we.
And I know you spent time, for listeners, Becca spent time in the Philippines, which I imagine that had a lot. That's a whole different purity culture there.
In Brazil.
In Brazil. Yeah, that would be so cool. You should make a TV show about that. That'll be
That would be very fun.
Yeah.
I would love
Okay,
that.
let's do that. If we have any investors, Becca wants to start a TV show. If anyone's listening wants to start a sex coaching TV show about cultures all over the world,
I'm in.
let's do it. So just to end, Becca, because actually I know you got to run. Thank you for coming today. Tell people how they can find you, how they can learn about what you do. And if you are building anything or want help with anything or need people to subscribe to something, tell people what they can look for.
Okay. So my website is rjlcoaching.com. And same on Instagram. It's
RJL.
RJL Coaching. It's my initials. And then, yeah, I am looking for someone to help with my marketing.
Cool.
I am my biggest, hurdle.
Okay.
Because I love what I do, and then there's growing the business.
Yep. So Becca's working in the business. She needs some help working on it. If that's you, RJL. We'll attach all the links in the description. Becca, thank you so much for coming on the I Had an Idea podcast. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully everybody learned something from this. I know I did.
Thanks so much.
Go do your Yoni Steams.
Now that's what I call it.
An idea.
Idea.
This song was brought to you by my friend Shido, aka Terrion Smith, aka Shogun Shido, aka DJ Jambalaya.